It was in the middle of the night. Everyone was fast asleep in their beds, apart from a dog called Sparky. Sparky was always a night owl, and every night he either takes himself out for a walk or roams around the garden. Tonight he decided to take himself out for a walk. Sparky walks until broad daylight. During the walk, Sparky saw a farm, and the gate to the farm was open. His curiosity rapidly increased, and decided to explore the farm. Every animal was asleep. It was very quiet. Suddenly, a chicken woke up because she heard movement. Sparky caught her eye. "What are you doing here at this time?" asked the chicken. Sparky said, "I'm a night owl. I like to stay up all night." The chicken grew very confused and very worried. The chicken took a small step backwards and looked at Sparky suspiciously. "You shouldn't be wandering around the farm in the middle of the night," she whispered. "The farmer will be here when the sun comes up." Sparky wagged his tail. "Don't worry," he said cheerfully. "I'm very quiet. Besides, I've never explored a farm before." The chicken looked towards the sleeping animals. "Well, I suppose you could stay for a little while," she said. "But you must promise not to wake anyone." "I promise," whispered Sparky. The chicken introduced herself as Daisy. She showed Sparky around the farm, carefully tiptoeing between the sleeping animals. They passed a big sleepy cow, who gave a loud snore. "Moo!" Sparky froze. "Was that the cow?" he whispered. Daisy nodded. Sparky giggled. "She sounds like a tractor." They carried on until they reached a little wooden barn. Inside were several horses, all fast asleep. Suddenly, one of the horses lifted its head. "Who's there?" he asked sleepily. "It's only me," Daisy whispered. "I'm a new friend, Sparky." The horse blinked at Sparky. "A dog? On a farm? At this hour?" Sparky smiled. "I'm a night owl." The horse gave a tired yawn. "Well, I'm definitely not. Good night." He put his head back down and went straight to sleep. Sparky and Daisy quietly left the barn. As they wandered around the farm, Sparky noticed something strange. "Daisy," he whispered, "what's that?" At the far end of the farm was a small pond. The moonlight sparkled across the water, and beside the pond stood a tiny wooden bench. "I've never been over there before," Daisy said. They slowly made their way towards it. When they reached the pond, Sparky sat down and looked at the reflection of the moon in the water. "It's beautiful," he said. Daisy sat beside him. "I've never stayed awake long enough to see the moon this late," she admitted. For a while, neither of them said a word. The farm was completely peaceful. Then Sparky heard something. "Did you hear that?" Daisy's feathers suddenly fluffed up. "I did." They both turned around. There was a soft rustling coming from behind the bushes. Sparky stood up and quietly walked towards the sound. Rustle, rustle. He peeked behind the bush, and suddenly, boo! Sparky jumped backwards with a startled bark. Daisy squawked loudly. A tiny hedgehog rolled out from underneath the leaves. "Sorry," he giggled. "I didn't mean to scare you." Sparky laughed. "You certainly did." The hedgehog introduced himself as Henry. He explained that he was looking for some fallen apples and had accidentally woken up. Soon, the three of them were sitting beside the pond, whispering and sharing stories about their adventures. But then, Daisy looked up at the sky. "Oh dear." "What is it?" asked Sparky. "The sun is coming up." Sparky looked towards the horizon. The sky was beginning to turn a soft golden colour. I suppose that means it's time for me to go home, he said sadly. Daisy nodded. I think so. But you can come back again. Sparky smiled. I'd like that. He said goodbye to Daisy and Henry and carefully walked back through the open farm gate. As he made his way home, the birds began to sing, and the whole world slowly woke up. By the time Sparky reached his house, everyone was still tucked up in bed. He quietly crept inside, curled up in his favourite spot, and closed his eyes. Just before he fell asleep, he thought about his new friend, Daisy, and he smiled. From that night on, Sparky still loved staying awake after everyone else had gone to bed. But now, whenever he looked towards the farm, he knew that somewhere inside was a little chicken who was waiting for another midnight adventure. And perhaps the next time the moon was shining brightly, Sparky and Daisy would meet again. The end.